It was by my own personal experience made me realize the gravity effect, and then as we thought, okay, could this be causing migraines? Now, migraines have been a mystery to medicine for like 1,000 years, okay? They don't know what's causing it. And people have had them forever. They've drilled holes in people's heads to let the spirits out and whatever. They've found skulls, archaeologists have found skulls with holes in their heads, which they presume were treatments for headaches. Migraines could be really severe. But we thought, could this migraine issue be related to head pressure? Because what happens with a migraine is all the blood vessels in the head open up, and you basically get blood pumping through the brain. And that pressure from that is what causes these headaches. And why would that happen? Okay, so medicine looks at a migraine as the problem. And I don't do it that way. I think of a migraine as the body's reaction to a problem. Like fever is a reaction to a problem. Fever isn't bad. It's the way your body fights infection. But if you believed everything you're told in marketing, you'd think if you have a fever, you got to get it down, take aspirin or some ibuprofen or something like that to get down your fever. No, fever, unless it's severely high and life-threatening, a fever of like 102, even 103, these are no problem. This is your body fighting off an infection. So most of the time you want to leave your fever to do its job. Coughing, you wouldn't want to take a cough suppressant, which they sell tons of. Cough suppressants is $1 billion industry by itself. And your body is coughing for a reason. It's trying to get something up. There's irritation going on. So if you address the irritation, you let your body expectorate, that's a good thing. Nausea and vomiting. Vomiting is something that you sometimes need to do to get out whatever's there. The same with diarrhea. So these are not symptoms. These aren't things. See, medicine treats them as a symptom of a problem. And if they don't know the cause of the problem, they treat the symptom. That's what medicine says. That's their maxim. In absence of knowing the cause, treat the symptoms. So, because they have to treat you, that's what you go to them for, is treatment. So if you come with any problem, they're going to look for a way of treating it. And the treatment is really fighting your body's response to the problem that's trying to get rid of it and correct itself and return to balance. So could a migraine be the same thing? And we believe it is. And in fact, migraines have been shown to be protective against other brain problems. So maybe we thought the migraine is a brain flush. Because if you're lying down flat, getting congested in your head all night, then the only way to get fresh blood in there, because your brain cells need oxygen and they need sugar. And if you are depriving them of those things, they get first dibs for the body. Because if your brain goes, you're dead. So, and the brain has centers in it that regulate the rest of your body through substances it secretes, hormones and so forth. So the brain is your central nervous system. It's the central controller. It gets first dibs on oxygen and sugar. But if you're down every night, flat, congesting your head, then the brain is going to need to get this, and it could need it in an emergency. So it opens up the blood vessels to push the blood through, because that's the only way it's going to get fresh blood. So a migraine could be a brain flush, and it makes you get up, and it's telling you to stop lying down. And what we thought, if this was true, we would try an experiment and with other people. We call these self-studies. A self-study is we give people a lifestyle that they could try if they choose to, and then they try it on themselves, and then record how they feel. And we asked people who suffered from migraines to sleep with the head of bed elevated about 30 degrees. So the position we wanted was like you would be in a lazy boy recliner, and where your head is up and your feet are up, and your butt is the lowest point. So your head get to drain from being down all day, and your feet get to drain from being down all day, and your head gets a slight elevation that gives it some gravity assistance to circulation. There's not zero gravity, you have some gravity. And by the way, I should have mentioned, we tested our theory in addition to this study. The first thing we looked at was, did anybody else look at gravity? I mean, you look at a medical textbook on physiology, you won't see gravity. They don't talk about this, even though obviously it affects us. But there is a field of medicine that does look at this. And I discovered this because, you know, you reflect on, okay, if gravity is an issue, where is there no gravity? And that's in space. So I looked up space medicine, and lo and behold, they've been studying the effects of gravity on the brain for decades. Because astronauts, when they go into space, fluid shifts to their head because of the lack of gravity. It doesn't drain. Gravity is very important for keeping the brain circulating. And as soon as they lose that gravity, their brains get pressurized, and they get eye pressure, so we're talking glaucoma. They get ear pressure and Meniere's disease, which is a middle ear disease caused by pressure. And they get headaches. And if you look at all the other problems that are associated with excessive brain pressure, it includes sleep apnea, attention deficit disorder, stroke, and Alzheimer's. In fact, Alzheimer's, if you look at the brain of an Alzheimer's person, the ventricles of the brain, which are these cavities inside the brain in which cerebrospinal fluid circulates, those cavities, these ventricles in the brain, are swollen, pushing the brain substance against the skull and causing lots of deterioration within the brain, plaques all along that, which are characteristic of Alzheimer's. And because of the pressure, all of the blood-brain barrier, which is a membrane that keeps certain substance from the blood from getting into the brain, they'll leak under pressure because the cells that hold the membrane together are being pushed apart by pressure, making gaps. So the integrity of the blood-brain barrier can be affected by excessive pressure with these swollen blood vessels all the time. And that could allow mercury and other heavy metals to get into the brain, aluminum, that have been associated with Alzheimer's. So it might be that these aluminum and plaques that they see in Alzheimer's patients are not the cause of Alzheimer's, but the effect of an overcongested brain that after decades of sleeping flat, this is the end disease that you're going to find.